Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is, my apologies. This is the first round of public engagement meetings for the tree ordinance rewrite for the city of Brookhaven. My name is Patrice Ruffin. I'm the Community Development Director. We'll kind of go over what the agenda will be for this evening. We'll introduce you to our tree canopy preservation team, run through the purpose of the project, share a little bit about the project website, and then go over next steps and then open up the floor for initial public comment. So last summer, the city hired a tree canopy preservation program manager, and Jeff Dadisman is here with us. He filled that position. We also have a city arborist, India Woodson, who started with us at the end of 2020. The division, again, sits within the Community Development Department, and this is one of the big projects that they will be working on during the next 6 months. So I'll start off with this purpose of the project, and then I'll turn it over to Jeff to kind of give his input as well. But the city's looking to strike a balance between the vision to ensure that we're maintaining our tree canopy and the needs of the development community. We also want to utilize this process to continue efforts that the city has already undertaken and also foster management of different programming that is going on within the department. Jeff.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in, taking some time this evening to be part of this conversation and, provide your input and or just listen. So like Patrice said, this is one, the rewrite of the ordinance is especially one tool that's part of a greater tree preservation program, really for any jurisdiction that has any level of urban tree management going on. So that's where we're at right now. This is going to be a months-long process with the goal of having a newly adopted ordinance in June, and we're collecting input. So, our kind of the way we're approaching these input meetings is we're not going to say a lot. We're mostly just going to listen. We'll answer any questions that anybody has along the way.
Patrice, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. The next thing we wanted to discuss was the project website. Again, if you haven't been there already, there are several ways that you can participate in the rewrite process. The ideas wall, the community survey, which will be up until the end of February, and the project timeline and key dates are also included on the website. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so at your convenience. So speaking about the timeline for the schedule, again, today is our first round of public engagement meetings. We'll have a second round at the end of February. And then we'll move into drafting the ordinance based on the comments and input that we've received. And we'll plan to present that to the public in the middle of April, and then to Planning Commission and City Council initially in May, and look to have the new ordinance adopted by the end of June. And again, with that, we just wanted to give you an overview of the project and really just open the floor for any initial comments or recommendations that you may have. So if you're interested in speaking, just please raise your hand or comment in the chat, and we will bring you over so you can speak. And I see Tom Riley. And Tom, you're unmuted. I think we should be able to hear you now. Tom, are you there? I wonder if he may be this phone number. Let's see. Tom, if you were the phone number that
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Perfect.
*6 will work every time. Sorry, folks. Okay. Welcome to the 21st century. Okay. No, some of you don't know me. I'm Tom Riley with the National Wildlife Federation in this area. Been working as a volunteer here since about 2006. And can you hear me all right? There's no echo here, is there? Okay. Basically, what I was hoping for with...
Tom, there's an echo. If you mute your computer, try to do that, and then you should just be able to, and turn down your computer volume, and you should just be able to talk on your phone.
Hold on just a second there. I'll turn down the volume. That'd be the safest way. Hold on. Here's a 30. How about 0? Is that better?
Much better.
Oh, good. 0 works then. I apologize. Again, I'm Tom Riley. I've job title is a volunteer area habitat coordinator for the National Wildlife Federation here in the Dunwoody and the Brookhaven Chamblee area. And our interest in this tree protection ordinance rewrite has been very great. We want to stress replacing, well, actually preserving everything. We do not want to see the trees replaced. We want to leave trees in place on each lot. It's a very important part of this provision. We've been working on it as groups off and on for some time now. And we are very much looking forward to June 22nd when I think we finally get this long process consummated. I'm glad to be here. I just want to let you know I was in the area, and of course I'm in favor of not replacing, but preserving the trees, leaving the mature trees on the lot according to their relative values. And with that, I'll leave it open to someone else if they want to speak. Do I lower my hand or what?
Yeah, we lowered it for you, and so I'll just
you did?
Put you on mute and bring over the next person. Let's see. I thought I saw another hand, but it looks like the person fell off of the attendee list. Was there anyone else that from the public that had any additional comments or initial things they wanted to discuss this evening? All right. Well, Jeff and India, was there any additional information that you all wanted to share just from the division about the project and some of the things that you'll be focusing on?
Yeah, so we've identified a few areas that need improvement, and I'll say there are opportunities for improved tree preservation. So that's one of the main focuses with the rewrite is whether that's adding a new section, eliminating certain things from the current code, or just restructuring parts of the code to get better results. And they're there. I think, I don't know how many people on this call are familiar with kind of the history of the current ordinance, it's basically adopted from DeKalb County when Brookhaven incorporated in 2012. There's been some revisions, some somewhat significant, most of them pretty minor along the way, but it's largely still just the greater DeKalb County tree ordinance. And I don't think my personal take on it from the perspective of India and I is that it's not a terrible ordinance. Parts of it can be leveraged into some substantial tree preservation and replacement, but it needs improvement. To me, one of the glaring absences or gaps in the ordinance is the ability to incorporate win-win scenarios for builders. Right now, there is honestly one, even though the term's not used in there's kind of one built-in incentive in the entire ordinance for tree preservation and or replacement that's above and beyond the bare minimum, which is not much. So that's something that we are exploring, and we already have some really good ideas that'll become part of the new ordinance, hopefully, in some way, shape, or form. The other observation that Indy and I have made, and to a large degree, I think conversations we've had with builders, there's a lot of objective acknowledgement of this observation, is that oftentimes if you go around and you look at many of the single family residential lots that have been redeveloped in the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years, look at the general condition of these trees that were kind of quote preserved, and therefore tree density credit was awarded. They're not in good shape. The trees that are on these newer rebuilt lots are not in good shape. They are fair to poor. That is the average condition of these trees. And what we're seeing that the builders, if I'm being honest, are largely unaware of is that Indy and I, we process the tree removal permits that come mostly from the applicants, or mostly just property owners, people living on these lots, and they're on the hook, and they're paying a lot of money to have hazard trees removed that were killed during construction. They died the slow death. They still looked reasonably okay when the CO was issued. Yet 1, 2, 3, 4 growing seasons later, these trees are in severe decline. They're completely worthy of being categorized as hazard trees. And the builder's not on the hook for paying these removal and replacement costs. The homeowner is. So that's something that needs to be addressed. To me, it's not necessarily a matter of adding required inches. It's doing a better job of actually preserving the inches that are agreed to be preserved site by site, so that 5 years later, those trees are putting on new growth and they're thriving versus in severe decline. You want to add anything, India?
No, I just agree with everything that you talked about. I think we're looking at a holistic approach to tree preservation here in Brookhaven, and hopefully we can make a balance of tree preservation, of preserving healthy trees, and replacing trees in every opportunity that we have. And that's about it. Looking forward to more input from all of the citizens.
And I brought Bree P over. If it looks like you're unmuted already. So if you wanted to ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just had some concerns. I actually live on North Druid Hills by the lot that they've recently cleared off. There's 3 large lots on North Druid Hills. And you know, I understand they're going to clear off trees, but now I feel like I've had some concerns and issues, many concerns and issues with how many trees that they've cleared. And I actually walked over there and, you know, I had a privacy wall of trees, and now I'm concerned about seeing a big giant house behind me, and contacted the builder and said, hey, are you planning on planting more trees for privacy or whatever? And he said, I don't care. I'm not doing it. Kind of screw you. So that was shocking. But he said, Brookhaven told me I could take all these trees down and I don't care. And I called the city of Brookhaven and talked to someone and said that he actually got fined for taking down too many trees. So he said, oh, I paid $10,000 to put, because I can take down as many trees as I want. Not that he took down too many. He said I had to pay $10,000 to take down all the trees. So I actually walked over there and talked to the tree guy when they were taking them down. He said, yeah, I told the guy he could leave a bunch, but he said, no, take them all down. So I guess my concern is just, he's paying this $10,000 fee of taking down too many trees, which is great that the city has that, but it doesn't benefit the people that have to live around the lots that have taken down all these trees. And I understand, development is going to happen. That's inevitable, but it would be nice to have something benefited the people that lived around these new construction lots.
Bree, let me ask you a question. Are you referring to the North Druid and Gale Drive?
Yes, correct.
So I'm glad you brought it up, and since you did, I'll comment real quick. That's what we're trying to get away from with the rewrite. Clear cut lots. Just from front to back, side to side, the clear cut lots. That's what we're trying to get away from. And I think a different way to maybe describe that is eliminating unnecessary tree removals.
Yes. And, with the grade of the lot, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but the grade of the lot is pretty steep, and that home is going to be up on that hill pretty high. So I don't know what his plan is for trees, but it doesn't sound like he gives a damn.
There is currently, and if you speak with anybody who is involved with the Brookhaven Tree Conservancy, that's one of the main points that I've heard from that group is, one thing that really needs to go with one thing that needs to be eliminated with the new ordinance that exists in the current ordinance is what is referred to as alternate compliance. Which basically caps the specimen tree recompense owed per acre.
Mm-hmm.
And for a site such as the one you're referring to. So that's actually 4 lots on that site. And mm-hmm. I personally did the review on 2, and what I can tell you is that they hit the cap. So any tree removals beyond that cap, it's done with impunity.
Right.
And when I say impunity, it's there are 0 specimen tree recompense dollars owed after you hit that cap. So for a heavily wooded, middle-aged, even old growth forest, you're going to hit that cap, and you're going to hit it pretty quick. And then, additional tree removals are, you can essentially do as many as there are on the lot with impunity once that cap is met.
Right. And that's, I think, part of the problem, along with no replacement requirement, it sounds like, or,
there is
putting the privacy back up.
Yeah, there is a replacement requirement. Every new lot for a tear down rebuild, that's considered a new build. There's a requirement to have at least 120 tree inches, and that's a diameter measurement on that lot before the CO is issued.
Okay.
So there is a replanting requirement. That's something I think is important to be clear on.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, he doesn't go grab 200 small, you know, bushes and hope that can get us through, because, you know, my property value of the privacy that I had is, you know, and I know it's winter and there's not tons of leaves left, but the way that the house is going to be sitting up on that grade, I don't know how, you know, planting the trees is going to get the privacy back. So just wanted to make sure that that's being discussed about replacements and clear cutting. So don't want to see it happen to anyone else.
Sure. It's so there are also standards for replacement. The replacement trees, the required replacement trees have to be at least 2.5 inches in caliber, which is a pretty significant size tree coming out of a nursery. Mm-hmm. So they can't just throw some sticks in the ground. That's described in the current code and will continue to be part of the new code, or you know, spec standards for trees that are to be replanted.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
Let's see, Mr. Boyer, I saw you had your hand up previously and then you went away. So I just want to make sure if you had
yeah, I'm here. I had a power hit, so back. So I just had actually 2 questions. I live on Briarwood, across the street from Briarwood Park, and I've noticed there's a sidewalk construction project going on. It looks like they're installing an extra wide sidewalk all the way from North Druid to Buford Highway. And, you know, they're doing it in bits and pieces. And it looks like they're probably going to make it work. They're going to have to cut down a lot of big trees to make room for the sidewalk. So if that happens and the tree's on private property, do they typically plant something else to replace it, or how does that work?
Generally, with the capital improvement projects that are managed by the Public Works Department, they will have a tree removal and replanting plan. Specific to that project, I would have to go back and look at it to see exactly what they're planning for that. Jeff, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that at all since you've been with us.
Like specifically what the policy is for improvements?
Just that plan in particular, that multi-use path that's going in on Briarwood.
Honestly, I think that one had full momentum before I became a reviewer. But I will say that for projects such as this, like I said, this one is already kind of full steam ahead. There are plenty of opportunities to, in India brought this to the table with a couple other projects recently, to root bridge over trees that might have root conflicts with expansion of sidewalks or just replacement of sidewalks. Root bridging can be done with virtually zero impact to a healthy tree and with very little additional cost.
Yeah, in this case, I think the trees are sitting in the direct path of where the sidewalk would be, so they're going to disappear. Yeah. But.
Right. So that's I know that if a tree has to be removed that's on the other side of the property line, it's on private property, how we handle that with residential lots is there has to be a boundary tree agreement, which is a legal document acknowledging that the tree will be destroyed and that removal costs and replacement costs will fall to the permitting property, which in this case would be City of Brookhaven, which would be.
Right. Okay, just one other general question. I have a large oak tree in my backyard that spans between my backyard and the neighboring property, which is an apartment complex. As I understand it, technically the half of the tree that's on my property belongs to me. Is that right?
Is it like literally split down the middle as the center of the trunk on the property line?
Just about. Well, the trunk's actually on the other property, but it's right up against the fence of my property. And the reason I ask is what happened. The apartment complex hired a tree trimming company to basically cut off the entire side of the tree. I stopped them because I was worried that, if you cut off half the tree, the other part's going to fall on my house because it's way out of balance. I was able to get them to stop kind of halfway, but it's still, I think, risky. If there's an ice storm or something, that the tree is healthy, but it could fall on my house. And if that happens, can I, tell the apartment complex, hey, you were wrong to destroy this tree. Look what you did. Can they compensate me for any house damage?
So I'll speak to that. Then I'm sure India could add to it too. So I would say document it the best you can right now. Mm-hmm. Because the short answer is if you document it well, and you can show that the tree pruning was not carried out according to ANSI standards and ISA tree pruning standards, then yes, you probably could pursue a civil case regarding that. So the general rule of thumb that I'll go ahead and describe to you that's laid out technically in those standard manuals is that no tree should ever have, for proper structural pruning of any tree, no tree should ever have more than 25% of its canopy removed at any one time. And if you have to exceed 15% canopy removal in one growing season, you should basically go another full growing season thereafter without any pruning, if that makes sense. So yeah, if they were excessive on one side and took close to 50% of the canopy off that tree, they're immediately non-compliant with industry standard structural pruning.
Right, yeah, I think the tree company just didn't care. They're like, the more work we do, the more we get paid. So, but luckily I was home and stopped them halfway.
And then there are standards for how they're actually making those limb cuts too. So couldn't really, that's civil. That's not a service that we provide with the city, but you could certainly get a private sector certified arborist out there to do a report.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, I don't know if you said it or not, Mr. Boyer, make sure that you put that in writing in a certified letter to the property owner, and also send a copy to your insurance company just so it's documented that you did send that letter, just in case it does become a civil matter. We generally advise people to do that as well, just to make sure they have everything in order.
Okay, great. Thanks for the advice.
Tom, I see your hand raised again. Did you have additional comments? I think you have to unmute your phone line again.
Oh, now I'm unmuted. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have any initial comments, but Jeff, I would like you and me to meet someday in the near future.
Yeah, let's me and you in India meet. And it sounds like you might be in a position where you have some really good insight.
Well, we try, but yes, let's do that. Let's see. Okay, I'll make a note here. I've got your email addresses, so.
Cool.
Set up something we can do.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I appreciate it. I think I'll go back to *6 and see what happens. Thanks, guys.
All right, and so did anyone else have any comments? Kirsten, I see you on, and I know you've met with Jeff a couple of times previously, so I didn't know if you had any specific comments about the project for the rewrite itself or not. Over.
Thanks, Patrice. I am on a plane that's getting ready to take off,
so
no. I will pass.
Okay.
But I am very glad I was able to listen as long as I could. Thank you for all you're doing.
Great, thank you.
Carson.
All right, well, those are all of our attendees, and so I think we've received all the comments and answered the questions that we have. So again, if you haven't already, please make sure that you visit the project website. It is available on the front page of the city's website in the scroll, if you haven't gotten there yet. And leave us, any additional comments that you may have or any recommendations. India and Jeff, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Nope.
I think if anybody on this meeting is like me, then you'll think of 10 other things after everybody leaves. So feel free to put those notes in on the webpage if you want.
Great. Well, we appreciate you all attending. If you need anything from the Tree Canopy Preservation Division, they can be reached at trees@brookhavenga.gov. And please be on the lookout for additional information about future meetings for this project.